Jonathan.
Sarah, does the president have confidence in his chief of staff?
Look, I think I've addressed this question when it comes to staffing and personnel many times, that if the president doesn't, then he'll make that decision. We all serve at the pleasure of the president, and if he gets to a place where that isn't the case, he'll let you know.
So you can't say right now if the president has full confidence in Chief of Staff Reince Priubus?
I think I just answered that. Look, I think what we have, this is a White House that has a lot of different perspectives because the president hires the very best people. They're not always going to agree. There are going to be a lot of different ideas. Unlike previous administrations, this isn't groupthink. We all come and have a chance to voice those ideas, voice those perspectives, and have a lot of healthy competition. And with that competition, you usually get the best results. The president likes that type of competition and encourages it. The people that are here because they love the president, they love this country, and they want to see the best things happen. And sometimes you're going to have different ideas come to the table. That's all we're talking about.
Public humiliation of both the Attorney General and now the Chief of Staff, left to kind of wonder about their own fate, their own status within this administration.
I don't know that the president's spoken about that, particularly on Attorney General Sessions. Look, he's been clear that he was disappointed with his decision to recuse himself, but at the same time, as I've said, look, Attorney General Sessions knows better than anybody that the president and his campaign had nothing to do with Russia, and his decision to recuse himself was disappointing to the president. At the same time, the president wants him to do his job, do it properly. He wants him to be tough on the intelligence leaks, and he wants him to move forward.
Lindsey Graham says there will be holy hell to pay if Attorney General Sessions is fired. What does the president say to that?
You know, I haven't asked him about Lindsey Graham's comments. Matthew.
Thanks, Sarah. The Pentagon has announced that the president's statements via Twitter did not change the transgender policy in the military, and that the White House actually has to issue a policy directive to the Secretary of Defense to make that change happen. So 2 questions. Does the president plan to do so? And if so, how will that affect transgender troops that are currently serving?
As I said yesterday, the White House will work with the Department of Defense and all of the relevant parties to make sure that we fully implement this policy moving forward and do so in a lawful manner.
What is the policy, and was the president aware that he can't make policy changes via statements on Twitter? Because the Pentagon is saying...
I think he was making the announcement of the policy change.
So the policy hasn't yet been formulated?
Well, like I said, they were going to have to work out the details on how that all moves forward to lawfully implement that policy change from this point.
So on the president's management style, is the president aware that occasionally, like days like yesterday when he had a big jobs announcement he wanted to roll out, that his seemingly impulsive decisions to make an announcement on transgender troops steps on his own message? Is the president aware of that dynamic, and is he interested in changing it at all?
I think the president's aware that he can walk and chew gum at the same time. This is a White House that takes on a lot of different things every day, not just one, and we're going to continue to do that moving forward. Peter.
Sarah, can I ask you quickly about Anthony Scaramucci? A little bit of housekeeping.
Only if you do it quickly.
Fine. Has he taken an oath of office?
I'm sorry?
Has Anthony Scaramucci taken an oath of office?
Not that I'm aware of.
Have his security clearances gone through yet?
As always, we do not discuss security clearances.
Is he an official member of the White House staff now? Initially, it was announced that it would be in mid-August.
He is working at the White House, but on your other questions, I can't answer
let
that.
me follow up then on December. If you would,
we're going to go with one question Thursday because we're kind of tight on time. As you guys know, the president's got to open.
I was following the front row. Let me ask you about the Boy Scouts then, if I can, very quickly.
I'm going to actually go to John. Sorry, Peter.
Thank you, Sarah. Several Senate Republicans have sent signals to this White House. 1, don't make a recess appointment because we're not going to allow it. 2, there's not going to be a confirmation hearing if there's a new Attorney General nominated. There is a signal being sent, don't do what we fear you might be contemplating. Can you, for the betterment of the Senate Republicans who are working with this White House on a lot of issues, put to rest once and for all the status of the Attorney General? He's not going to be fired. There's not going to be a need for a recess appointment, and this issue can be laid to rest for the country and for Senate Republicans who appear, based on their public statements, to be anxious about this prospect.
Yeah, I guess I'm not sure how many times you have to lay an issue to rest. I've tried many times.
No, but when you don't say the president has confidence and the president says time will tell, as he said earlier this week, I'm only telling you what Senate Republicans who are in a position to have to deal with this are
Yeah, and I've
saying.
answered your question, and yesterday you probably saw a statement come out from here that was more fake news from the Washington Post on the fact that we were considering a recess appointment. I think that sums that up pretty clearly.
Thanks, Sarah. This is a little, maybe just a little bit off topic, but I want to run it by you anyway. Is the president aware of the story?
It's probably good if we mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, why not, right? Is the president aware of the story of the IT staff, or the congressional IT staffer who most recently worked for Florida Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Imran Awan, who was recently arrested attempting to leave the country, although he said he was not trying to flee the country. Is the president aware of that particular circumstance, and is he satisfied with the pace of the investigation?
I haven't had a conversation with him specifically about that, but I do think it is something we should fully look into, and there should be a thorough investigation on that. Kristen.
Since we only have one question, I'm going to ask you about the Boy Scouts.
You gotta make it
Boy
count.
Scouts chief wrote this to family members who were at the president's events earlier this week. I want to extend my sincere apologies to those in our scouting family who were offended by the political rhetoric that was inserted into the Jamboree. That was never our intent. We sincerely regret that politics were inserted into the scouting program. Does the president owe the Boy Scouts an apology?
I was at that event, and I saw nothing but roughly 40 to 45,000 Boy Scouts cheering the president on throughout his remarks. And I think they were pretty excited that he was there, and happy to hear him speak to them.
Zeke.
Why is that
The
Sarah?
Boy
Boy Scouts
Scouts have acknowledged that there is a problem. A lot of parents have expressed frustration in the wake of those comments and felt the need to actually write a letter about it. So does the president owe them an apology?
Again, I was at that event and heard nothing but a lot of cheering, and probably one of the most energetic crowds I've seen in front of the president. And so I don't have anything to add. I haven't seen the statement from the Boy Scouts, so I can't comment any further than what I saw firsthand, and that was a lot of individuals, roughly 40 to 45,000 as reported, cheering the president on. Zeke.
I have two for you real quick if you don't
You
mind.
have one. Remember, there's a rule today.
It'll be quick. First, on Anthony Scaramucci on CNN this morning, he said he had a conversation with Attorney General Jeff Sessions about these supposed leaks. That would appear to violate DOJ guidelines, so I was hoping you could provide some clarity on that front. And secondly, out of Alaska today, the local paper there is reporting that Senator Murkowski received a phone call from Secretary of Interior Zinke, threatening the people, essentially threatening the services and federal dollars that were spent and the administration's posture towards the people of Alaska if she voted a certain way on the health care bill. I was hoping if you could confirm that and discuss whether that sort of conversation, if it happened, would be appropriate.
I'll answer both of your questions with one answer so that it keeps it somewhat fair, since you kind of broke the rules. But I'm not going to speak about conversations between cabinet members and other individuals that I wasn't a part of and haven't had a chance to talk to either individual about. Francesca?
Thank you, Sarah. You suggested that the president continues to have confidence in Reince Priebus based on the fact that he's still in the position. And he's a friend of Anthony Scaramucci, who's coming into the administration. At this point, based on what we've seen quite publicly playing out, though, does he think they at least need to sit down and talk, as House Speaker Paul Ryan said, and get whatever this is out of their system so that they can start off on the right foot here?
I don't know if he has an opinion on what they should do between the two of them. I think the president, as always, enjoys healthy competition and conversation, and he sees that as such. I've got to wrap up here because the president is getting ready to do an event, which I know you all probably want to attend. And I want to leave you with just one last thing before I close out on an important development. You guys love to talk about Russia, and there's been nonstop coverage. And the one day that there might have been a question on Russia, there wasn't. Often that we have a lot of media with Russia first, and but today there was public testimony that further discredited the phony dossier that's been the source of so much of the fake news and conspiracy theories, and we learned that the firm that produced it was also being paid by the Russians. This is yet the latest piece of evidence that vindicates what the president has said, that this is a witch hunt and a hoax. And it's a shame that the president and the country have had to go through this charade continually, and hopefully this will help us move forward in that process. And with that, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you tomorrow.